Yes, it's actually a spiritual feeling to for you being here today. Well, today would like to talk about the adolescent mothers and the clinical studies that we have carried out. Well, as it was mentioned by other speakers, in developed countries actually.
Karşılıklı cinsel deneyimi sonucu ve de pek çok kültürde kabul gören, ceza karşılığı olmayan bir şey ama bizim gibi
early pregnancies and adolescent pregnancies in our communities relationship apart from the marriages are generally restricted, limited and not appreciated very well. There are many figures, there are many numbers, but they do not reflect the reality. I don't believe that the statistics taken from the state institutions may not reflect the reality. Because unless they have to, they do not go to hospitals, they do not apply it in a doctor. That's why I believe the number of adolescent pregnants is higher than it is officially recorded. And in the sexual harassment cases, up to 5 to 10% pregnancy can occur. Sexual harassment assistance increases the adolescent pregnancy up to 2.2% more. What are the legal regulations? In 1926, for boys it was 18 and for girls it was 17. In 1938 it was taken a bit earlier. For boys 17, for girls it is 15, but in the recent civil code it is 18 for girls and boys. But after the age of 17, with the signature of both parents, children, teenagers can get married. But there is a need for a decision of court after the age of 16. Before the age of 16, marriage is not allowed, but sometimes courts ask us. I'm not sure whether they asked our opinion for the girls and boys getting married if they are below 16. After the age of 18, they are deemed as an adult, but as long as a person gets married, he or she is accepted as an adult. So even if she or he is 17 and got married, right to vote is automatically attributed to that person. So you are deemed as an adult. What was the purpose? In our trial, we evaluated certain sexual harassed people. Some of them are pregnant, some of them had previous pregnancy in their history. We wanted to define the future of this population. It was our purpose. We wanted to see the population. We wanted to provide better information for some training programs. I would like to introduce this delegation which evaluated the cases. It is from Çukurova Medical Faculty. Forensic cases were evaluated by this delegation. In 2012, we started to make in 2005, we started to evaluate the cases. Approximately for 12 years, we have been working on this case. We have child and teenage psychiatrists and forensic experts. There are 5 permanent delegation members, social service experts, and our assistants. They assume the real burden. They exert great efforts. For half day, we take part in the delegation to see the evaluations. First, the social services expert meets with the person and he gets the history of the person, and then an assistant takes care of the mental examination and listens to the harassment specific history. If there is the need for communicable disease evaluation on the laboratory, it is evaluated. At maximum within 2 weeks, report is evaluated. There is a mirror room system. She is one of our assistants. She is not a patient, by the way. And here you can see this is behind the mirror. Other experts, members of the delegation see the interview, and on the other side we take the records of the session and archive those records. After we summarize the case, patient is examined by a lecturer, by a physician. Then we exchange our information and knowledge and write a report about the case. I think it works out very well, very properly. I believe it gives very fruitful results. Compared to consultation rate, error rate is very low. Different discipline areas teach a lot of different things to each other. We learned a lot from the forensic department. Serhat was taught there. I think Necmi Hocam put a lot of contribution on your career, and some of you said father was like this association father model for us. So this kind of reports are prepared. Our permanent members are still the same people, so we know each other. Everything goes on very well. I hope we will continue in the same way. When we look at some findings, in total 207 pregnant or adolescents who delivered birth came to us within 12 years. First onset of the sexual activity on mean average is 14, or sexual harassment is 14. It is very similar to the literature, or it is a bit below than the literature, but it is very similar to other countries' mean average age. This is the education level of the cases. When we look at all the total pregnant population, there is illiterate, and that there are some people who have not gone to school, and the rate is 26%. It's very high. It is generally from Adana. So mainly they migrated from downtown of Adana. First sexual harassment happened below the age of 12, and 23% of the cases had their first sexual intercourse before the age of 12. When you look at the sexual harassment, it increases when the education level decreases. Generally, the potential husband or the boyfriend is the prosecutor of this sexual harassment. Education is not fulfilled by the pregnancy, and it is a very devastating feature for the society. Pregnancy finalizes the education. Nobody wanted to ask any questions about their education. They asked questions whether they should get married or not, but they didn't want to go to school. They dropped out their schools. And leaving the school increases the risk of getting pregnant in the early stages, up to 3.3 times. This training or education dropping increases the risk for the baby as well, because there's less good care, there's bad traditional care from baby's mother. Therefore, we can say in total it has big cost on the society or social level. Teenage mothers cannot have their self-esteem, they cannot have their economic power, they cannot stand alone by themselves, and they cannot train their, educate their babies as well.
Bu tezdeki en önemli şeylerden biriydi.
And it was one of the most important things, actually. The ones who didn't receive any education at all, their rate was 49%. It was half, actually. It is really high. And also, in this age group, the ones who haven't received education is really high, as you see. And also, before the age 12, not receiving education is closely related with sexual abuse. And if there is gestation, abortion actually is not preferred. Mostly, actually, they do not have an abortion, but they give delivery. And when we look at their working, only 5% of them work. And almost all of the fathers, they were working, actually. For early gestation, actually, not working was a high-risk group. And this is a demographic information form. And here, economic situation and social cultural situation. 61% of them doesn't have a bed of their own. These pregnant adolescents. It was really surprising, actually. Maybe they were seeing this as a matter of escape. The number of siblings, actually. The number of average sibling was 4.5, and the more the sibling number increases, their mother, the family keeping this gestation as a secret increases also, and also 12.1% of them had lost their parents. According to our data, it is 2%. So this in foreign and about family, actually. And maybe that is a fact because for them seeking marriage. And incest relations, 5% it was. Another family member, it was 6%. A person that they know, it was 3.1%. And some data, actually, I mean, there are many studies conducted. We see that there are there is abuse. And here, family providing a supportive attitude, more having a tendency to keep this gestation as a secret, and also stigmatization and departing from families, they also increase. And also the first sexual abuse average age increases also. Culturally speaking, actually these all support marriage. Well, having a child actually is perceived as a matter of cultural status actually. And also, I had given birth to my girl when I was 30 years of age, and I had my mother-in-law, and we were watching the television. The ideal mother's age was 32, so they said. And I said that I had given delivery very early, because for her, we had been married for 5 years, and it was really late for me to give the birth actually. So if her son's wife had given birth at the age of 16, she would have been really satisfied, I guess. Well, for instance, a girl comes from the village, and there is an imam in the village. He has insurance. He receives salary. So it is a nirvana actually for them. That they get really hilarious, when they have such a prospect groom. Well, when we just stop and think, they just leave school for getting married. Even though maybe they wouldn't get married, they're going to quit school. But if, for instance, this girl would be a girl of an educated mother, she wouldn't have ceased the school. And they seem to be lucky individually, but all their life actually is full of abuse and deprivation, but culturally speaking, they find themselves really lucky when they get married at an early age with a prospect groom. Physical abuse. The family, or else the adolescent, keeping this gestation as a secret is really high. 3 out of 4 people. And this actually is a matter of punishment. That's why. Penalty. That's why they keep it as a secret. So, unfortunately, the mother's education level being low, a low social economical level, and also the number of siblings, or else being unemployed, or else not having a bed of their own, and also the suppressive reactions of the family, or else the young person keeping this as a secret, are the most important variables. The early marriages actually lower the woman's status, and also deprives rights, human rights actually. It's a violation of human rights. We have to perceive it as such. So law actually forbids early marriages, but physiologically speaking, this cannot be accepted also. So in any situation, we cannot say that early marriage is acceptable. For an adult, actually, if the marriage is really traumatic, they shouldn't continue that marriage. And for an adolescent, it is more of a problem. Well, if they are pregnant, these adolescents, we have to think for the benefit of the baby, of course, here. That's the report that we issue if we are asked for a consultation. Okay, thank you very much to all.